All right, so I kind of just wanted to break down this song I made here. Uh, the instructions for the project included something about think of an audience, like your family or friends, and I remembered that I was invited to be part of a musical project, which I haven't really been able to contribute too much because of classes, but so I figured I'd take this opportunity to work with something. And my friend who invited me to be part of this band had just kind of recorded some guitars. So I took that section, and split that into two separate samples to use. I wanted this project to be sort of a way of learning sampling in Ableton, and I took this, which towards the end. So I decided to take pieces from both of those recordings and kind of make little cuts of them to make them easier to sort of sample. And then, and once cut down, it kind of just turned into. And then there's the variation. There. So that's that for the guitars, and then this little section at the end. I mostly just kind of repeat these short little loops. So my first struggle was figuring out how warp works, specifically putting down these warp markers. It seemed like all the guitar playing kind of hovered around about 90 BPM, so I figured that was a good tempo for the song. And the first thing I wanted to do was sort of put a drum beat to it. I actually took this from a larger drum pattern in from I think it was one of the Project 10 examples. I kind of just like this little section here so that repeats. And when it comes to the drums, I didn't want it to sound too MIDI sounding, so I threw some reverb, this preset on there. And also the kick I didn't want drowned out, so I kind of threw this boom effect on it. And what else? Also sprinkled throughout are other audio samples. Here's just a recording I took of a guitar. I'll play it without the effects. So I threw kind of reverb on that clean electric guitar. This little section here I found in just like an old sound library. Let me turn off automation mode for now. And the full sound didn't really last too long, so I kind of just cut out a certain part and looped it till I liked the way it was sounded, and I threw some crossfades between those little cuts. I did a similar thing with the guitar because I didn't like how it sounded at the end of that little sample I cut, so that it would I could kind of put this whole fade out, have it fade out for a longer time. Oh. I sort of looped it back. The radio samples were just, I was kind of going between stations in my car, and I guess I was like not quite fully tuned into a Christian radio station. But I thought the voice with the sort of distortion effect sounded pretty cool, and I wanted something to fill out this space here. Otherwise, it's kind of just the same loop over and over. I have like one little drum variation in there, but aside from that, the main drum variation comes during this little bridge part. And I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. I had to learn a lot about how to sequence drums and have them sound decent. Aside from that, I think that's basically the gist of it. Oh, and then this little section here. So for that, I just looped the first note of like the main loop that plays throughout. And what I did is, as you could probably hear, apologies, I have a, what do you call that? A separate track here with a vinyl crackle effect on it. And I have the drums, the guitar sample, and this sample as well fed into it. But here, and I'll pull up the automation lanes. I messed with the pinch drive effect on this. So kind of just, I wanted sort of like a record skip effect. And have it get more distorted throughout. And then as the track goes on, just sort of to close it out, I raise the volume of the crackle. Here it kind of levels out here at 70. But yeah, this project was super fun. I learned a lot about sampling, how Ableton uses like the warp feature. I had to put this little marker here to kind of have it in time, since the original sample isn't really played to a beat or anything like that. And yeah, it was fun. Like I didn't use the warp here just because it's kind of just like an ambient noise. But yeah, no, it was a super fun project. I learned a lot about it, and yeah, thanks.